Derby Wars, racing's biggest contest site, is now even bigger with more than 200 games every day. Check out Survivor, Derby Wars' hottest new game. It's fun, easy to play, and for just $4 you could win $1,000. Just pick a horse to finish first, second, or third and advance to the next race. With daily payouts and games starting every hour, you'll see why fans are racing to play Survivor.
Welcome to another edition of HorseCenter, everyone. I am Brian Zipsy, and as always, I have the great pleasure of being joined by my co-host to the East Coast. That's Matt Shipman. How are you today, Matt?
I am terrific, Brian Zipsy. We're less than 40 days to the Kentucky Derby, and we had a great weekend of racing at Dubai.
5.5 weeks to the Derby, Matt. Nothing can stop us from our appointed rounds of Kentucky Derby talk. Well, maybe one thing, Matt. That's Arrogate the Great. Arrogate was in the Dubai World Cup, now the second richest race in the world. It's still $10 million, Matt, but he didn't break well. I remember an old show called Happy Days. I used to watch every week with the Fonz. There was a thing called the Malachi Crunch, and that's just what happened to Arrogate out of the gate in the Dubai World Cup.
Hey, that was my Fonzie there.
Nice.
But, you know, Brian, it going into the race, there was so much talk about Arrogate and how this race, he was going to have no trouble in the race, but how could he possibly lose? Well, the gates opened and suddenly he could possibly lose. Broke a step slow, got really, really pinched from both sides repeatedly, and in an instant found himself 15 lengths behind the field.
Yet he won. That's how good the performance was, Matt. Arrogate went wide. Mike Smith said he would ride him like, it's okay, I'll just ride him like Zenyatta now. And he sure did. Arrogate wide the whole way, picking up horses the whole way. Gunrunner ran a very good race. Gunrunner ran his typical good race. Gunrunner's better than he was last year when he was third in the Kentucky Derby and he won all those stakes. Gunrunner is still improving. Gunrunner, however, is just not quite the horse that Arrogate is. One of the performances, I was in the press box at Turfway Park at the time, and we were all awestruck. I thought to myself halfway through the race, well, if this is a race Arrogate wins, it's gonna prove really how good he is. And he did. He did everything that you could ask of a great horse to do. Great horses do great things, Matt, and I think that's what we saw Saturday.
Yeah, without question. That is one of the real measures for me of a great horse, that a great horse can win under all kinds of circumstances. And those circumstances include difficulty, adversity, being forced to do things they haven't done before. And that's exactly what Arrogate had done. He had never been a deep closer before, Brian, and it was no big deal. He handled it and won once again with style and panache.
For me, Matt, it was the most memorable edition of the Dubai World Cup ever. Matt, it pains me to say I grew up in an era where there was Secretariat and Forgo, Alidar Firm, Seattle Slow, Spectacular Bid. These horses raced a lot. These were legends of the game to me. I never saw horses as good as many of the ones I just mentioned in the 70s. It pains me to say this about a horse who's only run 8 lifetime starts. And you know, that's part of racing today. It's a little different than 40 years ago. But I have to start thinking Arrogate is in that class. I may not be willing to say what Bob Baffert said, the best horse in Secretariat, being a supporter of Spectacular Bid and others that I am, but you got to give it to him. He is just a one special horse, and this was a special race. Overcoming what he did, I've never been more impressed with Arrogate, and that's saying a lot considering his Travers, Breeders' Cup Classic, and Pegasus World Cup.
Yeah, Brian, and that is so true. Keep in mind, right, he's only been on the racetrack for 9 months and won $17 million already. It's a different world, Brian. We're not going to see the Forgo horses who run 60 times in their career anymore. We're just not going to see it. And even Secretariat, who didn't run beyond his 3-year-old season, ran way more times than Arrogate is going to. But why should he bother when he can run for 6 million, 12 million, 10 million? Why should he bother?
Yeah, Matt, a year ago, Arrogate had never run. 11 months ago, he lost a maiden race, although it was a decent debut performance. And on my birthday, June 5 of 2016, that's when Arrogate first won a race. It was a maiden special, weighed out in California. Here we are, a little over 9 months later, and wow, Arrogate is something. Gunrunner, let's give Gunrunner props, Matt. Gunrunner ran another big race. He's won half of his lifetime races. He's won a lot of graded stakes. This was one of his best performances. If it wasn't for Arrogate, 13-horse Dubai World Cup field, Gunrunner wins by 5 lengths.
Yeah, he was dispatching the rest of that field with ease. And, you know, there were a couple points in there where maybe we thought he was going to win, but Arrogate was just too good. He was just Arrogate the Great in the Dubai World Cup.
Hopefully we'll get to see at least several more races from Arrogate before he goes off to a stud career for Juddmonte Farm. Bob Baffert, Mike Smith, they have a wonderful horse. Neolithic, the lightly raced Todd Pletcher horse, Jack Wolf, the group there. Neolithic ran a very good race. Nobody else did a whole lot in this Dubai World Cup. But on the undercard, we saw a lot of good things, Matt. First off, let's talk about Mind Your Biscuits, because Mind Your Biscuits finished the year off really, really well. He was running well in New York late last summer, ran a big Breeders' Cup sprint where he was close to getting second. An excellent Malibu where he ran down Sharp Azteca. I thought he was best when Unified beat him down in Florida, just a little bit late. And now this performance. Mind Your Biscuits, Matt, is he our best sprinter?
Well, certainly under the right circumstances, he is very, very difficult to beat. 6 furlongs, the typical 6 furlongs in America, may not be his best distance. I think 7 furlongs is his best distance because he has such a explosive closing kick. But at Dubai, things were setting up perfectly because that track, the way it is configured, has a very long run down the stretch. He was training marvelously for Chad Summers, his new trainer. Chad's been involved with Mind Your Biscuits from the beginning, but just recently took over training and decided to become a full-time trainer. And what a way to get technically his first win.
Not bad work if you can get it, Matt. He went wide the whole way, this horse, Mind Your Biscuits, and he just won for fun. He won easily. He just went right by the field, and he was going away at the wire. I haven't forgot about Drifang. Drifang is a wonderful sprinter, last year's champion, the Bob Baffert trained Drifang, son of Gioponte. But for me, for my money, I'm putting Mind Your Biscuits right up there with Drifang. I think he's that good, and he's run a number of good races since last we saw Drifang. So props to Mind Your Biscuits. There were other very good American performances as well in Dubai, Matt. Some in losing races. For instance, Sharp Azteca, I certainly thought was the best horse in the Godolphin Mile. Pace makes the race. He was up there with some of the other race favorites early, battling it out in fast fractions. He put away those horses, but could not hold off a couple horses rallying late. And Second Summer, a former American, son of Summer Bird, went right by him late. Nice for Second Summer. Big performance, though, for Sharp Azteca to finish a good third.
Yeah, and Brian, I think maybe that long stretch at Maidan worked against Sharp Azteca as in opposite to the way it helped Mind Your Biscuits.
Yeah, Mind Your Biscuits certainly like that long stretch in the Golden Shaheen. Sharp Azteca, another really good one-turn horse from America, ran a big race, as did Long on Value, who looked like he might have gotten there in the turf sprint, but just missed there. Nice performance there. I think we also have to talk about Master Plan, running a very good race. Quietly, there hasn't been a lot of talk about Master Plan, one of Pletcher's many good 3-year-olds, running well in South Florida, or in Florida, I should say. He ran a big race, but that was a great race. The UAE Derby was a fun race to watch.
It certainly was. And Brian, is this the year that maybe a horse from the UAE Derby is a little bit more of a factor on the first Saturday in May? Those two battled it down the stretch, Thunder Snow and Epicarius, the horse from Japan. What a battle. And both of those horses I was really impressed with.
Absolutely. Epicarius, of course, was undefeated. He's qualified under the Japan qualifying system for the Kentucky Derby. It looks like, folks, he will not be coming for the Kentucky Derby, but very much is in play for the Preakness and or the Belmont. So we should see Epicharus, who has a lot of speed and seems to be a really game horse. He ran a big race in the UAE Derby, as did Master Plan, who was really running late. We don't know his plans yet as far as the Derby or not, to be third from America. But the winner is the horse I'm most impressed with, Matt. Thunder Snow, a son of Helmet. Breeding, he just has beautiful classic breeding in every corner of his pedigree. This is a horse intended to be really good. Godolphin owns him. And he was a Group 1 winner in France as a 2-year-old last year on turf. Dominated the prep for the UAE Derby, the Guinness, over at Dubai. So looks like he's equally good on dirt as he is on turf. Ran a little bit wide. He was a little bit green. Changing leads was not the easiest thing for him. At one point, he shied outside. But when he was set down, he went and got Epicharus, who, as we said, was very game. Thunder Snow coming to America. It's still not confirmed for sure, but we think Godolphin will send Thunder Snow to America. He's got experience on different surfaces, different distances, up to a mile 3/16. I think this horse is a threat, and I haven't said that about many UAE Derby horses.
And it's as wide open a year in the Derby as it has ever been. So why not Thunder Snow? There are not many races that Godolphin has not won, many big races that Godolphin has not won. Kentucky Derby's one of them. I think they'll send him over.
I agree, Matt, and he's a horse I will consider betting in the Kentucky Derby. Thunder Snow. All right, Matt, I for my money, the UAE Derby was certainly the best of the Kentucky Derby preps on Saturday. We should talk about Fast and Accurate. Not that I think Fast and Accurate is a really legitimate Kentucky Derby horse, but he's owned by Dr. Hansen. He's a son of Hansen. And Hansen had a chance to supplement this horse to the Derby, or nominate this horse, a late nomination to the Kentucky Derby, Matt, which I believe cost $6,000 after he won the Spiral, and he wasn't nominated. It's going to cost Doc Hansen $200,000 to go into the Derby, and it looks like the good doctor is willing to pay $200,000 to get Fast and Accurate in the Derby.
Well, Doc Hansen has always been one to enjoy the spotlight. So, hey, what's a couple $100,000?
Good for him. You know, some people think he's a little crazy the way he does things in horse racing, but to have fresh blood like that and a person that's willing to go for things, that's a good thing for racing. So I'm all for it. I just don't see Fast and Accurate in the Derby myself. Now, on the other hand, the Sunland Derby winner was Hence. Hence is a Calumet homebred, and I think Hence is an interesting long shot come the first Saturday in May.
Yeah, Brian, I remember 3, 4, 5 horse centers ago, you mentioning Hence as a horse that you had some interest in.
Yeah, well, he has had some interesting races, including a kind of a crazy maiden win at Oaklawn Park. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, whether it be class or just a bad day, he didn't do much in the Southwest. But this Sunland Derby performance, where he really swooped from well back around the field, gobbled up ground, and then won easy and in pretty fast time at 148 and change. Hence might be a horse that we are looking at run a good race in Louisville in, 5.5 weeks now?
Yeah, fast time, decent buyer speed figure, so henceforth.
Henceforth, Matt, we're going to move forward. We're going to move forward to this Saturday because both Gulfstream Park and Fairgrounds have big cards, and of course they're headed by big Derby preps. Let's talk about the Louisiana Derby at Fairgrounds first. We're going to see a rematch between Gervin and Guest Sweet and Local Hero, first, third, and fourth. in the Risen Star. Is Gervin for real, Matt?
Really hasn't done too much wrong in again, a very short career in his first 3 races. Joe Sharp is a talented trainer. He's a trainer that is good at keeping horses going. I like him. We'll see if maybe Gervin can become a horse that can put together 2 Derby preps in a row. It hasn't happened yet, so we'll see. He's already got 50 points. He's already in the Derby field, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, the son of Tail of Akati made a very nice move up the rail that day, and he beat pretty good horses. I think some people are down on this Louisiana Derby field. I'm not ready to go that way yet, although on the other hand, they could be right. We'll have to see what shakes out in the Louisiana Derby. 9 furlongs on Saturday. Gervin is interesting. Certainly Guess Sweet was too far back in the Risen Star. He'll get another chance for Neil Howard, a good horse. Local Hero has always been well-liked, and he kind of opened up in the Risen Star. Maybe he opened up too much too early. Horse I'm looking at a lot, Matt, is a very lightly raced, this sounds familiar, a very lightly raced horse from the Todd Pletcher barn. His name is Patch. He is a brother of Tiz Windy, the recent Indiana Oaks winner. I think Patch has a lot of potential. Patch has only had 2 starts, really flew for second in a sprint race, and then he was a determined winner going 2 turns at Gulfstream Park. So Patch is actually going to be my top pick in the Louisiana Derby.
Yeah, Patch ran well in that mile race allowance at Gulfstream. Got a decent buyer speed figure, 89. And Brian, it's another Calumet horse. They just had a big surprise in the Sunland Derby. Can they get another big surprise in the Louisiana Derby? Pletcher's horses have been running big on the Derby trail, so maybe won't be quite as big surprise. And then there's also Senior Investment from Kenny McPeak, a horse that has strung together 3 wins in a row. People should keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Senior Investment is another horse who can rally, and he's obviously getting better. He was taken down in one of those 3, but clearly a horse on the improve. Monaco is coming off a big win at Tampa Bay Downs also for Pletcher. But Patch, Pletcher, and Calumet could be another good week for that combination, or not that combination, but for each of them, as they've both been winning Derby preps of late. And Matt, a son of Union Rags, and I'm already falling for Union Rags as a young sire.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, so Louisiana Derby Day, we also have the New Orleans, Noble Bird, Eagle, Mo Tom, a bunch of good horses down there. And also the Fairground Oaks, which stars Farrell. Farrell is maybe the Kentucky Oaks favorite now after the unfortunate news that Unique Bella is out with a sore shin. There's another one in there named Summer Luck, who I kind of like, getting better for the Cassie barn. Any thoughts on the undercard on Louisiana Derby Day from you, sir?
Yeah, well, certainly the Fairground Oaks becomes more of a spotlight race with Unique Bella having to take some time off now with a little bit of a shin problem. And I know back a few weeks ago when we were talking about the chance of Unique Bella maybe running against the boys, I did a couple of Oaks future bets, not anti-Unique Bella, but just per chance, if she ran in the Derby, maybe some other horses I could get some value. It's kind of turned out that way, not the way I wanted it to. I'm really disappointed about Unique Bella's minor setback.
Well, I hope you have Abel Tasman as one of those horses you bet in the Oaks, but that was smart, Matt.
No, I've got Farrell though.
That's good too. Farrell, the daughter of Malibu Moon, rates a big favorite in the Fairground Oaks. The one to beat, as I said, watch out for Summer Luck. Matt, let's switch gears a little farther east. We're going to go down to South Florida, Gulfstream Park, and of course the big one on Saturday there is the Florida Derby. And maybe we'll see a Kentucky Derby favorite come out of the Florida Derby because Gunnevera, 3 graded stakes wins already. He's got a style that people love to watch coming from way back. Looked like the real deal, winning the Fountain of Youth last time, just swooping by the field, winning for fun over some good horses. Practical Joke, 3 rules were second and third. Practical Joke, they've decided to skip this one and go wait it out a little bit. And I think he's headed to the Bluegrass now. Three Rules will be back. Also, the lightly raced, interesting-looking Pletcher horse, Always Dreaming. Good field for the Florida Derby.
Yeah, you know what's interesting recently, Brian, is that some of these trainers are doing some jockeying around. They're looking, because they're also lightly raced, they're looking for the best spot now that they can put their horses in to get their qualifying points, especially Pletcher, who's got so many horses. And he's trying to figure out where, Florida Derby, Santa Anita Derby, Arkansas Derby, Bluegrass, Wood are the only shots they've got left, and they're looking for their best spot. And like you said, Chad Brown decided to give Practical Joke another week, so he goes to the Bluegrass. Battalion Runner, where's he going? First it's going to be Santa Anita. First it's going to be the Florida Derby. Now maybe it's going to be in the Bluegrass. It's really interesting at this point, but Pletcher has Always Dreaming in the Florida Derby. Another one who's got a big win, going a distance of ground, going 1.8 miles at Gulfstream. Is this another one, Pletcher, that's going to fire big? It's for our friend Vinny Viola.
Yeah, Always Dreaming is a brother of Hot Dixie Chick, of course, a Grade 1 winner for Stone Street Farm a few years ago. So Always Dreaming has the breeding. He's won 2 in a row. He ran decently last summer, but he's come back pretty well in Florida. So Always Dreaming, who got a strange pace and then just sprinted away from the field in an allowance race last time at Gulfstream Park. He won before that easily at Tampa Bay Downs. Very interesting horse. But I think this race boils down to Guinevere. If he repeats the Fountain Youth performance, certainly he is the story of the Florida Derby and a likely winner, going 9 furlongs for the first time. I also want to give Three Rules a little bit of talk, because Three Rules is a very nice speed horse. I thought he ran a very game race. He had no chance against Guinevere's momentum down the stretch, but Three Rules would not let Practical Joke really go by far in that stretch of the Fountain of Youth. So any improvement, third time out for Three Rules, he might become a much more dangerous speed horse in the Florida Derby. Guinevere, Three Rules, Always Dreaming. State of Honor might be in there. We're waiting on the draw. State of Honor is another nice horse who ran very well at Tampa Bay Downs. Matt, it's hard for me to go past Guinevere, though.
Yep, and this is, again, we'll see if a horse can put two together. And like you said, Brian, if Guinevere wins the Florida Derby, he's a likely Kentucky Derby favorite, contingent upon the Bluegrass and whether McCracken comes back and runs a big one there.
True, Matt. I think one of those two are poised to be the favorite, with Mastery out. Guinevere or McCracken, depending on their last preps, look like one of those two should be the Kentucky Derby favorite right now. Still a lot of good races to go. Also at Gulfstream, we have the Big Hoss returning in the Pan American, maybe America's best marathon type of horse, especially on turf. The Big Hoss, nice to see him back, the former claimer. And then you have the Gulfstream Park Oaks. Again, we're talking a little bit more interest with Unique Bella not being able to be ready for the Kentucky Oaks. Miss Sky Warrior and Tecalita are the big names in the Gulfstream Park Oaks.
Yep, lots of great cards, all stakes pick fours coming up this weekend, Brian.
Should be fun, Matt. We already talked about Unique Bella off the Kentucky Oaks Trail. Practical Joke, not in the Florida Derby, going to the Bluegrass. We know, of course, Battalion Runner now, who was originally talking about the Florida Derby. Then it looked like he was all set to go to the Santa Anita Derby, is now not going into the Santa Anita Derby and will run either in the Wood Memorial or the Arkansas Derby, along with one liner from the Pletcher barn as well, who's also looking at the Arkansas Derby or the Wood Memorial. Pletcher, of course, also has a few others. Taprick going to the Bluegrass, Malagasy going to the Arkansas Derby, to name a few. Matt, it's hard to keep track of these horses as far as what they're going to do. It's also hard to keep track of these horses where they're going to be. But we're right here for you folks on the Kentucky Derby Trail every week on HorseCenter. Parting shots from you, Matt.
again, Brian, like you said, it's an exciting weekend on the Derby Trail, and who knows what will happen. We'll be back next week. And as always, I want to thank our producer, Brett Workman.
Absolutely. Brett's the best. We're going to go out and visit McCracken, I think, this week, maybe see his next workout at the Bluegrass. We have to thank our sponsor, the best contest site out there, Derby Wars. And thank you to Arrogate for reminding us all what a great racehorse looks like. Folks, we are always happy to do HorseCenter each week for you. We hope you enjoy it. And from all the comments that we get and the handshakes we get at the racetracks that we visit, it seems like you do. Thank you. We will see you next week on HorseCenter.